on the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield. Live from the Hyatt Regency, this is Hawk Talk with Fran McCaffery. Brought to you by Hyatt Regency, caring for people so they can be their best. Bud Light, it's for the fans. Brought to you by Ford, inviting you to visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. Hy-Vee, score big savings at HyVeeDeals.com. U.S. Bank, proud to support Iowa basketball. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. And by U.S. Cellular, take the phones down for 5 challenge. Visit uscellular.com/fines to learn more. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Hey, and welcome in, everybody. Our second to last show of Hawk Talk with Iowa basketball coach Fran McCaffery, live from the Hyatt Regency in Iowa's Coralville River Landing. Beautiful setting here right next to the Iowa River. We're in the Edgewater Grill and Bar. I'm Gary Dolphin, along with former Hawkeye great Bobby Hansen. Coach McCaffrey will be joining us in just a few minutes. Iowa's first visit to Assembly Hall in Bloomington in more than 2 years was quite successful. As you all know by now, last night the Hawkeyes, last time they were in Bloomington was February 7th of 2021, so just over a couple years ago. That was through that COVID period, and the Hawkeyes get out of town with a convincing 90-68 victory, leading from wire to wire and shooting the lights out from 3 for a second straight game. It's amazing looking at the numbers today. And that road trip to Northwestern and then Wisconsin, the Hawkeyes were 6 for 52 from 3 in a batting slump like we had not seen. That's about 11.5%. And what do? Last night and Saturday in that incredible record-setting comeback against Michigan State, they hit 33s in 59 attempts. That's a little over 51%. So you can see how quickly it can turn when you got a bunch of shooters who know how to shoot their way out of a minor slump, and that's exactly what happened. That was the difference. 17 threes last night, 17 threes on Saturday against Michigan State when the Hawkeyes put together that incredible comeback, one of the deepest holes ever to be climbed out of with less than a minute and a half to go in the game. Iowa down 13, then down 11, and they end up, as you all know, hitting 6 consecutive threes and 5 in the last minute to get it to overtime and beat the Michigan State Spartans. So that's what's happened in the immediate rear view window. The big picture is here the Hawks are at 19 wins and 11 defeats. And more importantly, 11-8 now in the Big Ten Conference. There are no less than a half a dozen teams with 11 victories from second down through that 4th place tie. You still have Northwestern sitting there in second place with one less loss than Iowa. Northwestern plays tomorrow night. Purdue, which was shellacked by the Indiana Hoosiers over the weekend in Mackey Arena, which is not an easy chore to do. Purdue is sitting there with 5 losses in the league, so they're still 2 up on the field. We have a game going on right now that is very important to Iowa's double bye wishes next week at the Big Ten tournament. Ohio State, playing very good basketball of late, leads Maryland 35-29. Maryland, and that is, that's just gone to halftime. So the Buckeyes are out in front of Maryland, that game being played in Columbus. And later tonight, Penn State is at Northwestern. Northwestern and Maryland, 2 of the teams that Iowa is log-jammed with at 11 victories. So lots to happen here as we hit the final week of the Big Ten regular season. And let me get this out there right now. Coach McCaffrey last night notched his 126th victory, which ties him for all-time most Big Ten wins in program history with Coach Tom Davis. So, Fran, congratulations on that note. 126 wins as the head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes in conference play. And we'll get Fran's comments on that a little bit later on. A Hawkeye win this Sunday against the Nebraska Cornhuskers will secure a double bye at next week's Big Ten tournament in Chicago, and will secure the program 5th consecutive upper division Big Ten finish and 10th upper division finish in the last 11 seasons. And Bobby Hansen, that's some pretty glossy statistics and well-deserved headlines.
Yeah, absolutely, Gary. And what a performance last night, though. go start to finish for the Hawkeyes over there at the Assembly Hall, and got off to a great start, led wire to wire, a couple of threes early from Chris, and Phillip got going, and it looked like Indiana was shell-shocked in that game. They left their game back in West Lafayette when the Hawks jumped on them. It was look out. Couldn't get Schifino going, and got to credit the Hawkeyes. Chris Murray imposed his will on that game right from the get-go, as I talked about. Out-rebound them by, 12 rebounds, 39-27. And it was a happy ride home here back to Cedar Rapids, Iowa City area. And you wake up today, and it's a beautiful sunny day. Temperatures in the 50, and you know what? It's March. Time for some tournament basketball here as we wind down the stretch. Greatest month of the year.
Time for a little madness, as they say. Last night was madness because once again proving that over the course of 31 games in the regular season, not counting the Big Ten tournament, that it's ebb and flow, isn't it? There's ups and downs. There's shooting slumps. There's miraculous shooting. There's all kinds of statistics you could look at. But the bottom line is you want to be playing your best basketball. And this end of February, first part of March, and the Hawks are certainly doing that.
They really are, and healthy, too. Number one thing, you got to get all your guys healthy. I read the news here today, and you got a couple injuries around the country, devastating injuries to the young guard down at Tennessee. They had he'll be done for the year. So you just want your guys to be mentally into it, totally on top of their game physically as well. And one to go for the Hawkeyes Senior Day. It'd be a great afternoon. Sunday afternoon against Nebraska as we say goodbye to two fantastic super seniors, Connor McCaffrey and Phillip Abracha, and I would assume at some point Chris Murray makes that decision. We don't know that right now, but got some managers as well that are seniors. So always a fun day. It'll be a sold-out crowd, packed house. Supposed to be a great day up in the 50s.
Chris Murray could come back next year, but if he has a few more games like he had last night, he'll be waving bye-bye as he leaves the building too. But that's down the road. Right? Chris understands, like Keegan did a year ago, when the window is slowly closing on your collegiate career, you've only got so many games left, and the Hawks they look focused, Bobby. They look like they sense the urgency with postseason almost here. It's a safe bet to say they've secured an NCAA tournament bid, regardless of what happens in next week in Chicago. But you do want to improve that seeding. That's what's in front of you now. Clinch the double bye and improve your seeding for Super Sunday. Selection Sunday. For Selection Sunday, it comes on Championship Sunday. They're the Big Ten tournament. We went through it last year. The Hawks win the 4 games in 4 days in Indianapolis. You wait around to see where you're going to go and all the pageantry that goes along with that. So, some great basketball yet to come here for the Hawkeyes. And, we'll talk to Coach McCaffrey about the specifics of it, but I thought the defense was really good. Often doesn't get the credit that it deserves, but Iowa man-to-man, the zone, the three-quarter court pressure was all spot on, and the double teams that came at Trace Jackson Davis. I was thinking about Aaron Eulis today. He was good. He was attacking him early before he could even realize that it was coming to him, and they just bodied up on him, forced him to give up the basketball, and then the shots did not drop. Just 2 for 11 from 3 was Indiana. So Hawks got to feel good about that one, and everybody contributed. Peyton Sanford on fire from the outside, 5 of 9 3-point shooting. Chris as well, 5 of 8 3-point shooting. So everybody that got in there did something good, and that's what I like to see. That top team effort that the guys on the bench were up cheering their guys on. And Tony Perkins, I mean, my goodness, Tony was phenomenal. Back home in Indiana, player of the game. And he's got something against Indiana. He doesn't like them over there. And he gives them everything he's got, but almost had a triple-double last night. I don't think he got an offer from the Hoosiers the way he played last night. Yeah, he was a little bit put out. He may have gotten one after the Hawks offered him, but the other key factor, I thought, Bobby, in that first half last night was Race Thompson getting in foul trouble, because that really opened up the floodgates for the Hawkeye rebounders. They end up outboarding Indiana by 12 with 9 offensive. That was a huge stat when the smoke cleared.
Yeah, only played 14 minutes. I think he only played 10 before the knee. He got injured with a knee injury in Iowa City, but in this one couldn't get it going. Foul trouble. I always liked his game. He's always a junkyard dog around the offensive glass. He's always tipping it around, getting getting loose ones. And when that double team comes, he was so good at going right to the front of the rim. Race Thompson does, and Trace knows where he's at, gets him the ball, and he'll score easily around the basket. But not last night. And 17,222 Hoosiers there in red. They were trying to get their team going, but I never heard that place erupt, Gary. Kept them on their hands for most of the evening. Maybe one time at the start of the second half, it got loud in there, but for the most part, the Hawkeyes kept them quiet.
A lot of the columnists today, Bobby, that I read, a lot of the stories on last night's game, and the radio talk shows were wondering, was this Iowa's most impressive win of the year? I went back through the schedule, and there's been a handful of really impressive victories at Seton Hall, winning by 16, defeating Iowa State by 19 at Carver Hawkeye Arena. I think up until last night, the most impressive win for me was leading wire-to-wire at Rutgers, which is one of the more difficult venues to play in the Big Ten. And the Hawks outpointed Rutgers 76-65, but they outpointed Rutgers in almost every statistical category. We know how tough Rutgers can be defensively and on the glass. 16-point win over Northwestern at home, that's significant. But last night, given the time of year, when it would have been easy to have a letdown after that incredible game with Michigan State on Saturday, Purdue got walloped at home by Indiana. So when you mix all that in the bowl, last night's win, leading from start to finish at Assembly Hall, where the Hawkeyes haven't had a whole lot of success over the years. Now, that is 4 straight wins over Indiana, but last night takes the cake for me. I thought that was their most impressive performance, given what it meant.
It was, yeah. I can't disagree with that at all. I mean, I look at that Iowa State victory as well. That was domination from wire to wire. Seton Hall was good. Out on their home court, Clemson, when we were down in Florida, had just good preparation, working on the double teams against those guys. That was an impressive victory because they led the ACC for a little bit of this season. They faltered a little bit coming down here, but when you go into Assembly Hall, you win by 22 points on the heels of Indiana's huge win at Purdue, knocking off number 5 Purdue for the second time in the year, and they were feeling really good about themselves just watching them warm up, and kind of the body language and the attitude of the people around us in the stands. The Hawks took it to them, and let's call it the most impressive win of the year.
At both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
Jalen Hood-Schifino, 35 points he hung on the Boilermakers in Mackey. You and I have been there a number of times. You know how difficult it is not only to win there, but to shoot the ball well. Hood-Schifino got 4 baskets in the final 4 minutes of the first half, and wasn't heard from before that, and wasn't heard from since.
No, and just kind of watching him, looking and see what's he doing. Is he going to start going off now? He hit a couple 3 in a row at one point there in the second half. But against Purdue, they ran high ball screen, and they switched off. Zach Edey switched off on Schifino, and Schifino able to take advantage of him. The big fella couldn't move along with him and would pack it back in the paint a lot. Schifino had a lot of free throw line jumpers to get those 35 points. He's a very talented freshman, comes from, I think, Montverde Academy, basketball
Pittsburgh.
academy. Yeah, Pittsburgh kid, but went to a prep school. And, the Hawks kept him bottled up. Credit Tony Perkins, Aaron Eulis. Connor McCaffrey at times was switched off on him and made it tough on him, made the kid work. And that's all you could do when you play defense, Gary. Guys are going to score. Offensively, guys are extremely talented, but if you make them work, you can wear them down a little bit. Jerry Sloan used to always say, maybe you take a little starch out of them, and that shot at the end of the game comes up a little bit short. Usually works that way, too.
And as you like to call guys like Tony Perkins, defensively speaking, a junkyard dog. And for 2 straight games, Tony put up an incredible line. But his most impressive effort last night was on Jalen Hood-Schifino. For most of the game, they were switching off. Eulis took him for a few minutes, but Tony was... he was spectacular again and came within an eyelash of the first triple-double in the history of Iowa basketball. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, that is hard.
23 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. When you think of all the great players down through the years in Iowa basketball, and this goes back to 1902, so that's 21 years of basketball, and nobody's ever accomplished the triple-double. You look at how close Tony came last night. Impressive stuff.
Yeah, he was all over the court, and you talk about focused. He was certainly focused, and I love him on the boards. He's a young man that wants to be a professional basketball player, and I see that in his future with the way he plays. Now, what you want out of Tony is consistency, Gary. So, and he's starting to get to that point right now, and you saw how well the Hawkeyes played at the end of the year last year. Jordan Bohannon, Tony Perkins in the starting lineup in the backcourt really freed up Tony, take him off the ball, and Jordan was a ball handler. But now Tony is kind of whatever. He does whatever the job entails, whatever coach asks him to do. But, again, love him on the boards when he's hitting that three-point shot. He's got a nice mid-range game. And what he got last night was a credit to the Hawkeye offense, the motion offense. They were moving, and he got some easy back-cut layups. Total confusion on the part of the Hoosiers. Couldn't find Tony. I know 2 or 3 times in a row made nice back cuts. All the Hawkeyes are doing a good job moving without the basketball. I love that type of offense.
I love that stat. 19 assists on 30 made baskets. That's off
awesome.
The charts,
yep,
indeed.
Very good.
So that's kind of our thoughts and facts and figures on what we saw last night down in Bloomington. When Coach joins us here in a little bit, we'll revisit Michigan State briefly. That was last Saturday. Get his thoughts on the big victory over the Indiana Hoosiers. That improved Iowa's quad ranking and net rating, which is important come Selection Sunday. With the victory, the Hawkeyes jumped 10 spots in the net rankings. They're now up to 34 from 44. And, of course, another quad 1 or 2 win. The Hawks have 13 combined quad 1 and quad 2 victories. That's second most in the Big Ten behind Purdue. That's something that the committee will take note of.
Oh, they've got to, Gary. And that net ranking is kind of the old RPI, I guess, if you will. But people watched on that, followed on that. But the Hawks are doing everything right going into this final week of the season.
All right, that's our scene set, as they say, here from the Edgewater Grill and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency with Bobby Hansen. Coach McCaffrey will join us shortly. We're at the Hyatt, Coralville's Edgewater Bar and Grill, where you can enjoy extended happy hour until 8:30 tonight. Come and try their brand new menu and enjoy nightly specials, including $2 draft beers, $2 off draft beers, I should say, 1/2 off glasses of select wines, and buy one, get 1/2 off appetizers and sandwiches. Each time you come to the show, you'll be entered into the hotel's drawing to win a range of prizes, including a free room night giveaway each week. All entries will be pooled together for a grand prize drawing at the end of the season. A little bit later on, we'll get Fran's Club Car Wash keys to the game with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the only team left on the regular season. Fred Hoiberg and the Huskers come calling at Carver Hawkeye Arena on Sunday. That's a 1 o'clock tip-off. It is an announced sellout. It is a sellout, so if you don't have tickets, find somebody who does. Our pregame coverage starts at noon, though, on the Hawkeye Radio Network. We hope by then, by Sunday, that the Hawkeye women are in the title game of the Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament, which is going on up in Minneapolis. A little bit later on tonight, we're going to hear from one of the leaders of that Hawkeye basketball team, Kate Martin. She's been a steady Eddie all in her entire career. She will be back next year for a 6th year for her COVID year. And so we'll get Kate's insight. She had 19 in a big victory the other day for the Hawkeyes. Of course, Caitlin Clark had the game winner, the 3 that rattled in as the buzzer went off, and the Hawks escaped Indiana and secured the number 2 seed at the Big Ten tournament. The Hawks will play on Friday evening, early Friday evening, and they will play the winner of tonight's game between the Purdue Boilermakers and the Wisconsin Badgers. That's all ahead here on Hawk Talk with Fran McCaffery. By the way, we want to hear from you folks in the listening audience. Submit an interesting question for Coach McCaffrey each and every week via Twitter at Gary Dolphin or Facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks, and you could win a $100 gift certificate for Hawkeye gear from Authentic Brand. Bobby and I will pick a winning question or comment off the Twitter page and Facebook later on this evening. Again, the address is to reach us, a question or a comment for Coach McCaffrey. Now's the time to load up our laptop here at Gary Dolphin on Twitter or on Facebook, Facebook.com/Voice of the Hawkeyes. We'll take our first break, come right back to the Hyatt Regency. This is Hawk Talk with Coach McCaffrey from Learfield.
Running a business is a lot of work. Luckily, I've got a great partner.
Oh, I thank you.
I meant U.S. Bank.
I knew that.
U.S. Bank Business Essentials is a huge help to us.
Totally. Their comprehensive point-of-sale system does it all. Tracks inventory, manages schedules, customizes orders.
Plus all the regular banking stuff.
If only it could make coffee.
Nah, that's your job.
From point of sale to quick loans, we have many ways to make your business boom. That's what U.S. Bank is for. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Equal housing lender member FDIC.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
Contractors, you're busier than ever this fall, but you've got this with high-quality building materials from Spahn & Rose, like GAF. Use the Spahn & Rose Visualizer to plan the perfect roof and blend an elegant architectural look with exceptional performance. GAF, we protect what matters the most. With several Spahn & Rose locations nearby, you can focus on life's other important things this fall. Spahn & Rose, buy easier, build better.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy one free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now, kids can eat free.
Hey, welcome back to Hawk Talk with Iowa basketball coach Fran McCaffery. Got a great house here tonight, live audience. Welcome to the Diamond Vogel State Convention. Diamond Vogel Paints here in the building, enjoying the all the amenities of the Hyatt. So welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have you here. Coach McCaffrey has joined Bobby and I now here at the podium, and boy, how quickly things can turn. And you've seen this many times over a 31-game schedule. I was mentioning those numbers earlier. 6 for 52 turned into 30 of 59 in a couple games. And like you've said many times, Fran, shooters, you tell them, keep shooting, keep firing.
Yeah, we have good shooters. I tell them, you got the green light. We don't hold them back and have them questioning whether or not it was a good shot. We know what a good shot is. If you're open and if you're shooting, while you're covered. Our guys take open shots. They move the ball. They share the ball. Last night was a great example of that. But we don't have any selfish guys. So they move the ball, take open shots, and just keep shooting, and they don't think about it. I don't yank them because they miss one or they miss two. Now, if we're quick shooting the ball and they're contested threes and the defender's got both feet above the line, that's different. But, our guys, they know what a good shot is, and we've got a lot of different guys that can make them. And we saw that last night.
Quick review, Michigan State, just an incredible comeback in the last minute and a half. But beyond the made threes, the guys kept their heads straight on their shoulders. What did you like about the last 5-6 minutes of that game?
Well, what was great about it, I think a lot of times when a team gives up a lead, like Michigan State did, usually they're making mistakes. It's a terrible word, but a lot of times they choke. That team didn't choke. Those kids didn't choke. They executed their press attack. They go 8 for 9 from the foul line. They worked hard to get into the double bonus, So when they did get fouled, they were getting 2 shots and not a 1-and-1. That's what you usually see, a couple 3 turnovers, a couple missed front ends. But they didn't do that, So what that did was put more pressure on us to have to successfully execute our offense, because we had to trade 3 for 2. That's the only way the math is going to work, right?
That's right.
You got to trade 3 for 2.
3 for 2.
And it's kind of like when Chris missed the 3 and Patrick got the rebound, threw it back to him, and he hit the 3 to cut it to 4. Okay, all of a sudden you look up and it's a 4-point game with 30 seconds. Well, that's completely different than you're down 13 with a minute and a half, or you're down 10 with 48 seconds. So I just give them a lot of credit for their composure and their recognition on what was a good shot. Because a lot of times, what else do you see? You see the offensive team kind of, force something. Yeah. Oh, we got to get a 3 up. So you take a bad 3, they rebound the ball, you foul, and the game's over.
Done. Yeah.
So we had to score pretty much every time we got the ball back, and we did. Right up until Peyton hits one with 3 seconds. So it was just a great job of executing, and it was a lot of different guys making plays, whether it be passing or shooting.
And Fran, is that something you guys practice, situational stuff at the end of the game, not down 10 or 14, but say down 3, down 5?
We do. We scrimmage a lot. At every scrimmage, so let's say, okay, we're going to do an 8-minute scrimmage. We're going to stop the clock. It's always the last 8 minutes of the game. So you're going to have to run a side out of bounds play, down 1 with 3 seconds. You're going to have to go length of the floor with 1.5 or 3.5. Okay, so now you have to think, do I have time to catch it and make a pass, or do I have to catch it and shoot it? Can I make 2 passes? How many dribbles do I have? Let's say there's 6.5, you got 6 dribbles in a shot. That's how you look at it, 6 dribbles in a shot. So you got to have that in your head. You can't be dribbling the ball 8 times and then be surprised when the horn goes off. So we do that all the time. And what it does is it encourages your guys to go make plays. Because, like I said, after the game to the press, it's a lot of time, like we were running late game action. So you have something set. But it worked a couple times it didn't work as it's designed. Well, that's because they have scouting reports too, whether they're switching everything or they're icing ball screens, they're staying home on certain guys and leaving other guys open, whatever it is. There might be a reason why the picking action doesn't work. But that's okay, because now you still have space to go make a play. So you got to be confident enough to make a decision and go make a play without kind of playing nuts. We have to hurry up and score, so I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to drive into 4 guys, and I'm going to put up a bad shot, or I'm going to turn it over. We didn't turn it over, and we made 3s. And all of a sudden, you get it to a 1-possession game. It only took 1 missed free throw.
Yeah.
1 missed free throw.
Yeah.
And Hogarth was great.
Yeah, he was.
He was great. You can't say he wilted under pressure. He missed 1. And he did miss 1 in overtime, too, though. That was big, because when Tony tipped the ball in to go up 5, and then we fouled, we should have switched that time. Connor and Chris should have switched. Connor ends up fouling him on purpose, so he doesn't have a layup. And then he only makes 1. So now it's still a 2-possession game, and we have the ball as opposed to a 1-possession game. Changes everything.
Yeah, and Tony hit a couple free throws.
Then they fouled Tony, and Tony puts us up 6.
Yeah, but talk about your motion offense. I thought it was spectacular yesterday. Getting those back cuts, the way the kids are cutting from weak side to strong side. Tony got 2 or 3 in a row, and Connor's back cutting, Patrick's back cutting. I mean, it was perfect last night.
Yeah, well, that's a function of how they play defense. The way they play, they're in your space. They're X on the O, as opposed to a pack line defensive team. So they're in your space. So if you spread them out, there's more room to drive.
I saw you keep talking about that spread out.
So spread out, and then drive the ball. And Philip made a couple great passes, so he's away from the basket. Now, when he's away from the basket, Trace is not going to play him tightly. That's not how Trace plays defense. He's always in drop. He's always off his guy. He kind of plays a one-man zone, and he doesn't want to get in foul trouble. So Philip can drive that space, and he can throw a bounce pass to a guy who's cutting. but they're constantly kind of in the passing lane, so you can back cut them, especially when you have an open post.
You mentioned back to the Michigan State game briefly, but the few turnovers. I mean, 45 minutes, Hawks turned over 9 times. And you know historically how Michigan State puts defensive pressure on the ball. But on the flip side, Fran, they shot almost 60%, 73% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line. And we talked about this on the postgame. Many of those shots were at the end of the clock. And so the guys were playing hard in the defensive end, too. It's just that Michigan State was on a day where they were making them like Iowa was.
Well, you know, and again, it goes back to an improbable finish.
Yeah.
You know, so now we talked before, they made their free throws, they didn't make any mistakes. But they made shots the whole game. Like they didn't wilt under pressure at all. And the numbers defy logic in terms of who won the game. You know, you shoot like that, you're typically going to win. Yeah. You know, now obviously we made 17 threes.
That helps.
So that changes everything. You know, and I say it all the time. I mean, you hear a score and you say, okay, let me look at the box score. Okay, let's look at like yesterday. Okay, we won by 22. We make 13 threes. They make 2. Do the math, right? I mean, there it is.
That's
30 more points.
That's 30 more points just on threes.
Yeah.
Well, but also to yesterday's game, you really outboarded them. And part of that was Ray Thompson getting in foul trouble, but the Hawks got him in foul trouble. But to dominate on the glass like you did with 9 offensive boards, that was huge, too.
That was really important. But again, it comes down to spreading the defense out and then going to the glass and having a sense of when the shot goes. And we got a couple big ones when we really needed it to keep them on defense for over a minute. It's very, very frustrating if you're down 16 or 18 and all of a sudden you get a stop, but you don't get the rebound, and then we keep them on defense again. Our guys really played with great composure. The last 10 minutes we didn't rush at all. We milked the clock without becoming tentative. You know, we just went later in the clock. And we didn't stand there. We moved it. Move it, in, out, to the other side, flare him, drive, kick. All of a sudden, Tony's got space, and the guy's on the side of him. Now they foul him.
Very demoralizing.
Well, that just destroys your will when you're trying to make a comeback.
The other thing I was really impressed with, in that building, 17,000 people, most of them don't like you, and they're pressing almost the entire second half. There was only one time I think the Hawks flipped it over back-to-back possessions with the full court pressure. But beyond that, to your point, Tony, Aaron, Chris, they never flinched, never blinked.
I mean, I've been going down there. You know, Bobby's you both been going down there for a long time. I mean, I've been coaching in that building since the late '80s. When I was at Notre Dame, we used to play them, and it's a hard place to play.
Boy, it is.
And I don't, as you know, I don't get into buildings. You know, it's always like, oh, you know, this place is really hard. You know,
it's a hex.
We used to play them. And it's really hard to play because they have Calbert Chaney and Alan Henderson.
That's why.
Isaiah Thomas.
That's why it's hard. It's not the building. You know, so, but that said, you know, the place is that was the quietest I've ever heard that building. That place was dead silent.
Had them sitting on their hands.
Like, it's 7 minutes to go. The building emptied out. They just said, okay, this one's over. And there was no intensity at all from the fans. It was electric to start. I mean, it was loud in there when we walked out on the floor. Mm-hmm. They were ready for a big victory. They had just beaten, Purdue on the road. They had beaten Purdue at home. They're 14-1 at home, and we took the crowd out of the game. So it was really an impressive effort by our guys.
Tony comes within a whisker of the first triple-double in the history of Iowa basketball. Mm-hmm. And you go back to last Saturday, you can pick out a game here or there. When he plays with that tenacity, that man cover, and usually the other team's best guard, he's a different player. He's a different dude.
I would have, if I knew that, I might have left him in. So pick up 2 more.
Oh, you did
pick up 2 more assists.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
He was a distributor.
Yeah, well, he had 8 assists, 10 rebounds, and 23 points.
And 35 relatives.
35 relatives, and he was 8 for 10 from the line. So he understands how to play against that kind of defense. Like he's constantly in attack mode without, like I said, without kind of losing his mind and just indiscriminately driving into packs of people. He would go and he would get his man on his hip and he would attack the drop and he would wait to see where the help came from, if the help was coming, or did he have space to just boom, just accelerate and get to the rim.
Which
because a couple times he did and scored, a couple times he did and got fouled.
Yeah.
So either way, he was putting pressure on the defense. And then what that does is it softens up the defense. So now you have open people, ready to shoot threes. That's how, Chris made a bunch of threes, but it was ball movement and cutting and penetration. And all of a sudden, he's open just enough.
Yeah.
Just enough to get. Everybody's like, why was he open so much? Well, it's because everybody else was doing what they were supposed to do, and he was open enough. Because if you're playing regular defense, you can't just sell out on one guy. And I'm sure they thought about that, potentially because of the way he played. But if you do that, you're just going to give the other guys more space.
And, Coach, he was like a 20-point leader more and some important minutes, but Josh Gunale got the call, and he looked like he was ready to go and was hustling around out there. Talk about that decision and how he played.
Well, it's a hard call because Chris and Phillip were playing so well, and it was right around the 10 or 11 minute mark. So they both got their third. How long do we keep them out? We're up 18, 19, 20. Can we survive 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Well, yeah. I expect Josh Dix and Josh Gunale to come in there and be fine. Now, Josh got a tough call on the first play when he tried to poke the ball, when they tried to do a pitch post entry to Trace. But he had a big block and was setting screens. I was concerned, like, Josh, be solid on your screens. Do not move. We don't need that. So he didn't make those kinds of mistakes. He was active, and he's a presence inside when the ball comes off the rim. So really impressed with him, and our guys were solid as I expected they would.
Josh Dix, he handled the ball. He had some serious pressure on him there a couple of times.
Well, the
but
other thing too is, in the one turnover he had, we had gotten to the point where we weren't attacking as much. I probably should have just said, just keep attacking. If they're pressing, just keep attacking. But we were trying to get it over, work the ball, because when we did, we were getting great shot opportunities. And so, remember, he brought it over and stopped, and then they trapped him, and then they poked him.
Yeah. And 19 wins now for the Hawkeyes, 19-11, and equally important, more important, 11-8 in conference play. We're keeping an eye on that Ohio State-Maryland game this evening. Where Maryland is concerned, they're also with 11 victories, but the Buckeyes are on top by 10 with 10 minutes to go in the game, about 10 and a half to play out in Columbus. That's our U.S. Bank scoreboard update. And we'll come back with more with Coach McCaffrey on Hawk Talk in just a minute. We're sponsored by Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. Tonight's Hawk Talk with Coach McCaffrey each and every week, courtesy of Bud Light. Bud Light proudly welcomes Hawk fans to Carver Hawkeye Arena again this season. Just one game left. That's Sunday. It's a sold-out house on Senior Day. We're going to get Fran's thoughts about Philip Rabracha and, of course, son Connor. Playing their last game inside Carver Hawkeye Arena this Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock with our pregame coverage to start at 12 noon. U.S. Cellular is on a mission to find us again by putting down our phones in the Phones Down for 5 challenge. 5 days, 5 hours, even 5 minutes. Find out more about this promotion at uscellular.com/find us. That's all one word, FINDUS. uscellular.com/find us. This is Hawk Talk from the Edgewater Grill and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency in the Iowa River Landing from Learfield.
Contractors, you're busier than ever this fall, but you've got this with high-quality building materials from Spahn & Rose like GAF. Use the Spahn & Rose Visualizer to plan the perfect roof and blend an elegant architectural look with exceptional performance. GAF, we protect what matters the most. With several Spahn & Rose locations nearby, you can focus on life's other important things this fall. Spahn & Rose, buy easier, build better.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
When you set up a savings goal with U.S. Bank, it grows with you. There's no limit to what you can crochet. Can do. Doesn't have to be crocheting, but it totally could be. Like the headphones you're listening to this ad with, you could totally crochet those. There's no telling where your savings goal will take you. Maybe you'll save enough for yarn to crochet your house or the whole town. Oh, right. Doesn't have to be crochet related.
Set up savings goals on the U.S. Bank mobile app, even for the wildest of dreams. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At U.S. Cellular, we think phones are great, but they're not always great for us. Because while they connect us to so much, they can also distract us from, well, us. The us that actually laughs out loud with each other instead of just texting it. That knows being in the same room doesn't always mean being together. So let's find us again by putting our phones down. Not forever, just for 5. 5 days, 5 hours, even 5 minutes. Join U.S. Cellular in the Phones Down for 5 challenge. Find out more at uscellular.com/findus.
Woo! Got my nachos, got my big TV, and my favorite chair. It's game time. But you know, the only thing that would make it a little better is if I could listen to my local broadcasters while watching the game.
Oh, hello. You must have wished for your game to be synced with TV and radio.
I sure did.
Do you have a DVR?
You bet.
Do you have a streaming device?
Yeah.
Blammo! Your game is now synced. It's that easy.
Oh, boy.
To see if you can get synced, head to syncmygame.com from Learfield.
Syncmygame.com?
Syncmygame.com.
The Honda HR-V, CR-V, Pilot, Passport, and Ridgeline. They all have one thing in common. They never back off from a challenge. Available with all-wheel drive, the Honda SUV lineup has the performance you can count on and the capability to amaze. It's no wonder Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com named Honda the 2022 Best Value brand.
So get to your Central Midwest Honda dealer. Honda gets the Midwest.
Based on 2022 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book, visit KBB.com for more information.
Hawk Talk with Iowa basketball coach Fran McCaffery returns. Big weekend for the Hawks. Win over Michigan State on Saturday. And then last night, quick turnaround. Just a 2-day respite, of course, filled with practices and a lot of shooting, as you evidently, or as evidence would prove last night. 17 made threes against Michigan State. Another 17 made triples at Assembly Hall in Bloomington last night. The Hawkeyes defeat the Indiana Hoosiers 90-68, leading from wire to wire. We'll talk about Nebraska here coming up shortly, but let's go to the YouTube chat room, to our Twitter handle, and to Facebook. Questions from Coach. Fran, Linda wants to know, Coach McCaffrey, which is better, the stare down or blowing a kiss? I love them both. Now, for those of you who in the audience who aren't aware, of course, we're all aware of Coach's stare down with the official last week, but Peyton Sanford blew a kiss to the student body in Assembly Hall last night. The game was well over with. Peyton drills a long 3, and I'm guessing, knowing that student body, they were chirping at Peyton and the Hawks all night long, and Peyton turned and blew a kiss. And that was it. And next thing you know, I asked Bobby, what happened? Why did they tee him up? Yeah. Peyton doesn't get in anybody's face. So anyway, your thoughts on that?
First time I've ever seen that, ever.
I'd never seen it before.
Yeah, I actually checked. I said, is that possible rule that you would? Who cares what he says to the fan? If you taunting would be taunting the opponent, or mouthing off to the ref. Either of those you would expect to be a technical foul. But who cares what you say to the crowd? I've never seen it called before. I mean, I've been coaching 41 years, and no one's ever called that. And by the way, they were insulting his sister by name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
so he said, Coach, I'm going to, I said, no, I'm with you. I would do the same. But I really don't, the official that made the call is a really good one. I don't think he would have made that call in a one-point game.
That's a good point.
I'm not sure that Peyton would have done it in a one-point game, but I don't think he would have called that in a one-point game.
All right, Coach, back to the YouTube chat room. Holly in Burlington, has Iowa or the Big Ten considered, now we talked about this last week, considered working with sponsors to allow for the Wilson ball all year? For example, Kansas is an Adidas school but plays its home games with the Wilson ball. We could talk about this for an hour just on.
I mean, it's a legitimate thought, and it's a legitimate question because you play with the Wilson ball in the NCAA tournament. So now you play during the season with a different ball than you play with in the tournament. So, of course, last year we didn't shoot the ball well, so is that the reason? That kind of thing. I don't know what ball other teams play with in their conference tournament. It's a really important thing for the sponsors, for Nike, for Adidas, for Wilson. Over the years, and I've coached in a number of different leagues, there was a lot of pressure, a lot of conversation. Okay, what ball are we going to use during the year? And they've always given each individual institution the option to use whatever ball that they sign a contract with. So when, going back, at least 20 years, maybe 25 years, when shoe companies started signing up the whole institution. It used to be you would sign men's basketball, then you'd have to go out and sign women's basketball or wrestling or baseball. But as they figured out, the best thing is to do just get everybody. Get everybody wearing Nikes, get everybody in Nike gear, and then if that's the case, you're going to use the Nike ball. So
Iowa's a Nike school.
Yeah, we're a Nike school, so I don't know that will change. But it's a legitimate question.
And it's one that certainly has financial ramifications. Jim, Tony, and Chris are together tonight on Facebook. Coach, offense plus rebounding plus team defense plus sealed with a kiss shooting. That equaled a great road win at IU. What formula do you think wins or works well in the Big Ten tournament? Best of luck, Coach. Go Hawks on Iowa. Well, you start with a neutral floor with the Big Ten tournament, and then you work out from there.
Yeah, you're not going to win in a situation like that if you're turning the ball over. It really comes down to, this is not complicated. You got a rebound, you can't turn it over.
Take care of the ball.
Now, of course, you want to execute your offense as best you can. You want to move the ball, share the ball, like I say all the time. You got to go inside and out. You can't be a straight perimeter jump shooting team. You can't be strictly a driving team. You can't be strictly a post-up team. And you look at the teams we have with Luka, we threw it inside a lot. We're doing the same with Phil because both of those guys could pass out of the post. We had multiple three-point shooters and multiple drivers. So you get to postseason, it's oftentimes the team that makes the fewest mistakes that wins. Now, occasionally you have a guy like Keegan Murray last year. We beat Indiana. He goes 8 for 10 from 3. Something like that. Is going to be a difference maker in that game.
For sure.
And then Bohan, of course, banks a 3 in. That helps. But, you want your best players to play well. You want your best players not to get in foul trouble. And you want your guards to handle the pressure, whether it be pressure of the game, pressure of the crowd, pressure of the defense. Are they 1-2-1-1? Are they running 2 at the ball? Are they flying around, running jump? Are they mixing defenses and trying to confuse you with a 1-3-1 to a 3-2 to a 2-3 to a triangle and 2. So you just rely on your experience at that point.
And Coach Philipper brought you. I don't think we talk about him enough, but just sort of the invisible warrior out there. The guy just does the dirty work, and he's refined his offensive game this year and has taken great steps. He's going to be a professional player for a long time.
His game has really expanded. I have to tell you, watching him, I go back to the Iowa State game, the plays he was making on a short roll, he's finishing plays, he's running the floor, but he's much more comfortable dribbling and passing the ball and making plays for his teammates. and for himself. He's bringing the ball length to the floor, dribbling it. I mean, he's special, and he's the toughest guy in the building every time you take the floor.
He's all business.
Yeah, he is.
What he is, yeah.
And there's no nonsense with him at all.
Well, he's all business in every game, but he's more than business in big games. Combined 34 points, 11 rebounds against Michigan State and Indiana. Yeah. And seemingly he does that. Well, he's almost a double-double average this year. And
that's hard to do in this league. That's hard to do.
And, you know, Coach, I asked him at midseason when you could see this kind of year developing. We were doing an interview, and I said, well, what's the difference from a year ago? He said, until you play a year in the Big Ten and go through and see all the teams, you have no idea how physical and how difficult a league it can be to score and rebound.
Well, in addition, the scouting is really sophisticated.
Yeah.
For us, scouting our opponents, and for the opponents, scouting us. So he's processing all of that information to be the best that he can be on defense, that he can figure out how he fits into our offense. You know, you look at him as a veteran guy last year, he's learning our offense for the first time. Even though he's been in college, he hasn't run our offense, he hasn't run our plays, he hasn't run our out-of-bounds plays, our press offenses. He's a guy that one of my favorite guys I've ever coached, and that's saying a lot.
Did you, when you were recruiting him or going through the transfer process, did you have an inkling? Did you see this kind of production once you would have a year to work with him and teach him how to play in the Big Ten?
It was there. You could see it. I mean, he had a complete skill set. He played with an incredible amount of confidence. It just took a little bit of time getting here and dealing with the physicality and playing with Keegan and Chris and Connor and Patrick and everybody else. Just took a little time.
Yeah, great recruiting. That's what it takes.
And Coach, you mentioned scouting. It just popped in my brain, but the scouting report you had prepared for Indiana. Sherman Dillard was the man on that one, and I thought it was magnificent. And what I liked about it was right from the get-go, Aaron Eulis went and double-teamed Trace Jackson, and it kind of like sent the message that hey, we're here to we're going to give you 40 minutes of hell here, and I thought took Indiana out of their rhythm.
Well, you know, they're a hard team because it used to be you could double Trace and he wasn't a good passer. But coming into the game, he has 98 assists. That's a big number for a center. So you can double him, but they shoot 38.5% as a team from three. So you're going to be vulnerable to skip one more for threes. You know, when you put Hood Schifino, Miller Kopp, and Trey Galloway, because Trey Galloway is shooting over 50 from three. You know, last year you let him shoot, but that kid worked on his game. He's a really good player, and he's killing the three ball. So now you have three guys killing the three ball and the best post player in our league who's a willing passer. So our plan was, you know, to double him, like you said. You got to double big. You got to rotate with a purpose. You got to be ready to get there on the catch, because if you're late, they're going to shoot it in your face, or they're going to rip and drive the closeout. So we did that. But then sometimes we'll change the coverage and we'll dig as opposed to doubling. And just put some doubt in Trace's mind.
Worked well.
Especially if he catches it, because he was starting to do what we call the Nigel Hayes. He was the first guy to, everybody's trying to catch it on the block. I don't care. I'll catch it wherever. Then I'll back my way down to now everybody's doing that. Tyler Wall, I mean, everybody in the league. Jalen Pickett. Yeah, so that's what everybody's doing.
Well, Coach, we'll take a break here with Coach McCaffrey, Bobby. I'm Gary Dolphin. When we come back, we'll turn our attention to Nebraska. The Huskers are next up, coming up on Sunday afternoon at Carver Senior Day. We'll get Fran's Club Car Wash keys to a Hawkeye victory over Nebraska. That's next on Hawk Talk from the Hyatt Regency and the Edgewater Grill and Bar, courtesy of Learfield.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
At US Cellular, we think phones are great, but but they're not always great for us. Because while they connect us to so much, they can also distract us from, well, us. The us that actually laughs out loud with each other instead of just texting it. That knows being in the same room doesn't always mean being together. So let's find us again by putting our phones down. Not forever, just for 5. 5 days, 5 hours, even 5 minutes. Join US Cellular in the Phones Down for 5 challenge. Find out more at uscellular.com/findus.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy 1 free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
Got my nachos, got my big TV, and my favorite chair. It's game time. But you know, the only thing that would make it a little better is if I could listen to my local broadcasters while watching the game.
Hello. You must have wished for your game to be synced with TV and radio.
I sure did.
Do you have a DVR?
You bet.
Do you have a streaming device?
Yeah.
Blammo! Your game is now synced. It's that easy.
Oh, boy.
To see if you can get synced, head to syncmygame.com from Learfield.
Syncmygame.com?
Syncmygame.com.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Coach McCaffrey, Gary Dolphin with Bobby Hansen. Thanks to everybody for coming out tonight here at the Hyatt Regency. We're here next Monday night.
Got a great crowd here.
Yeah, tremendous. Next Monday night will be our final Hawk Talk of the current basketball season. Now, should the Hawks get to the Final Four, we might throw in an extra program.
Why not?
I think Coach would be amenable to that. For now, though, let's talk about Nebraska. Keys to the game presented by the official car wash of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Club Car Wash, with unlimited membership starting at just $20 a month. There's no better time to join the club. Visit clubcarwash.com to find a location nearest you. Well, guys, full confession, I was at the bowl game. I watched the Nebraska game out in Lincoln back in at the end of December. And Fran, 2 guys in Nebraska were really in gear that night. Jawan Gary and Emmanuel Vandemel are both missed most of the year because of injuries. That really crippled Fred's team for a while. But Hoiberg's got him playing well now, despite what happened last night.
Fred has done a tremendous job keeping that team together. They lost 2 really good players that were really important. But he still got Derek Walker, one of the best players in our league. Griesel, the transfer, who was phenomenal.
Impressed with him.
But Tominaga has really taken his game to a whole nother level. I mean, this guy's like draining threes like Steph Curry.
What do they call him? A left-handed Steph Curry.
Yeah, but Wilcher's playing well. The rest of the team is really galvanized to continue what they had started, because they were on their way to being an NCAA tournament team, I thought.
Agreed. Fred's son is playing well.
Playing really well. The tough loss was they had Purdue beat there. They got a tough call at the end. And that was right before we played them. So they were really playing well. We did not play well. Part of the reason was they played really well. Mm-hmm. I mean, they took us out of some stuff. It was not a very good night for us. We didn't shoot it well. We seemed to be, like a day late and a dollar short on closeouts, on all kinds of action. It was not a good night for the Hawks. So hopefully we'll learn from it. I watched it today with Sherm and, made some teaching points or some mental notes and stuff. We're going to, talk about it with the guys. We got to play better than that.
I did a double take on the rebounding numbers, 54-40. Nebraska. So a lot of
we got 73 shots up.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we got 73 shots up, and Tony hit a 3 at the buzzer. We would have had 47 points.
And made 19.
We took like 30 more shots than they did. We didn't turn it over. And it was just one of those nights. We just couldn't. Nothing went in.
Bobby, you were there? What do you remember?
Patrick and Peyton, I think were. Patrick made a 3. Peyton was 0 for. Oh. Chris was his first game back. He was like 6 for 15.
Patrick 1 for 9.
Yeah. Peyton was 0 for 9.
Yeah. Well, Chris was 6 for 15.
Yeah.
Still had 17.
Nobody really. We played hard for a while. But every time the ball bounced, it bounced away. They bounced to them. And they were just better that night. We have to play better than that.
Indeed. Bobby?
Yeah, what I remember was a kid Walker early. Derek Walker. I like his game. He had a nice game, and then hadn't seen anything of Sam Griesel, but very good player.
He's a terrific player. But Derek Walker is definitely one of the best players in our league. He's 25. I mean, he plays like an NBA veteran. Mm-hmm. He's 7 years out of high school, went to prep school, and then he's in his 6th year, kind of like Connor is, but Connor didn't go to prep school. But very mature game, complete skill set. You can ISO him, and he can take you off the bounce. You can post him up. He scores off either shoulder. He can bring him bouncy, long, but you can bring him out, and he can make a play off the dribble for somebody else. A lot of big guys, once they put it down, they're going for themselves, and that's it. He gets rid of it. He's got great feel for how to play. Nothing rattles him, and it gives them a serious scoring threat every time they come down the floor.
And that's senior day at Carver, Coach. It'll be extra emotional for the McCaffrey family, of course, with Connor, and of course Philip Rebracha playing their final games inside Carver. I mean, at senior day, as you know, they're always emotional, no matter who's graduating, who's leaving. But it'll be a fun day too.
It will be, and you always wanted to go really well for 4-year seniors, especially 2 guys like that. They're incredible leaders, character guys, winners through and through. And those 2 guys will be ready.
Go enjoy your meal here, and we'll get back with you shortly. Those are Fran McCaffrey's keys to a Hawkeye victory, courtesy of Club Car Wash. Club Car Wash has unlimited membership starting at just $20 a month. No better time to join the club. Visit clubcarwash.com and find a location nearest you. We'll come back with a U.S. Bank scoreboard update in just a minute. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. This is Hawk Talk with Coach Fran McCaffery. More Hawk Talk from the Hyatt Regency and the Edgewater Grill and Bar coming up in just a minute. This is Hawk Talk with Coach McCaffrey from Learfield.
At U.S. Cellular, we think phones are great, but they're not always great for us. Because while they connect us to so much, they can also distract us from, us. The us that actually laughs out loud with each other instead of just texting it. That knows being in the same room doesn't always mean being together. So let's find us again by putting our phones down. Not forever, just for 5. 5 days, 5 hours, even 5 minutes. Join U.S. Cellular in the Phones Down for 5 challenge. Find out more at uscellular.com/findus.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy 1 free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford Tough Trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
Contractors, you're busier than ever this fall, but you've got this with high-quality building materials from Spon & Rose, like GAF. Use the Spon & Rose Visualizer to plan the perfect roof and blend an elegant architectural look with exceptional performance. GAF, we protect what matters the most. With several Spon & Rose locations nearby, you can focus on life's other important things this fall. Spon & Rose, buy easier, build better.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Coach McCaffrey here at the Hyatt Regency, the beautiful Iowa River Landing in Coralville at the Edgewater Grill and Bar. Time for a U.S. Bank scoreboard. Maryland and Ohio State are playing in Columbus. The Buckeyes have another minute 10 to hold on here, leading the Terrapins 67-60, and that's very important to the Hawkeyes where the standings are concerned. Maryland's sitting there with 11 victories, just like the Hawks and half a dozen other teams. So there'll be a lot of jockeying around the standings here this week in the final go-round of the Big Ten regular season. Other scores, of course, later tonight, Penn State at Northwestern. Every game's big here in the final week. Penn State visits Evanston to take on the Wildcats. Now, number 2 Alabama trails at home to Auburn 66-61 with 6 minutes to go in that game. Other games, Kentucky trails at home to Vanderbilt 68-66. Earlier tonight, Notre Dame, well, actually it's not quite over. Notre Dame with an 11-point lead on 25th ranked Pitt 80-69. And in the Big 12, it is Kansas State on top of Oklahoma 39-27. That's our U.S. Bank scoreboard. We should tell you that if you missed it, Caitlin Clark is Iowa's now 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year. Voting done by the coaches and media and announced yesterday. Clark becomes the 5th Hawkeye MVP in the last 6 years. Megan Gustafson won the award twice, and Kathleen Doyle once, and now Caitlin her second time. It's the 9th time a Hawkeye has captured the coveted MVP honor. Clark is a finalist for every major national award and is second nationally in scoring at 27 points a game, leads the nation with 8 assists an outing, and has a nation-leading 3 triple-doubles. Monica Sonano was picked to the first team as well. McKenna Warnock was accorded honorable mention. Freshman Hannah Stolke is the 6th Player of the Year in the league, and who could argue with that? The Cedar Rapids Washington prep played in all 29 games to this point and has a 7.4 rebound average and is shooting 61% from the field. Well, the 30th Big Ten women's basketball tournament tipped off this afternoon in Minneapolis. We'll get those scores for you in a minute. Iowa plays Friday night against the winner of tonight's Wisconsin-Purdue game. And veteran leader Kate Martin, who's been such a mainstay of this Iowa basketball team for a number of years, said the big key this year, again, she feels, is chemistry.
When you get to stay with the same starting 5 for 3 years in a row, you know, that's pretty special. A lot of players are coming and going, especially with the transfer portal now, but I think the time and the dedication that people have put into this team is what makes it really special, the coaches included. And so, I mean, these girls are some of my best friends, so I feel lucky to be able to have another year with them this year, and it's been quite a ride, and it's been really fun so far.
Beyond the numbers of Caitlin and Monica in particular, what makes them so special beyond points and rebounds in steering the ship and making sure everybody's on the same page?
Yeah, well, I mean, Caitlin's basketball IQ is higher than anyone I've ever met before, and she just sees the floor so well. And I mean, they both draw so much attention that it helps players like me, McKenna and Gabby, get open, you know. When Monica's getting doubled or Caitlin's getting doubled, that leaves somebody open on the court. So that just helps the entire team of with that aspect. And Mon, she's just so smart down in the post where she just does her work so early. She's learned that. And in a physical conference like the Big Ten, she's had to learn that. And when you get your work done early, you're going to be open. And if you have someone on the floor like Caitlin, she can find you even in that split second. So their duo together is awesome. And then the attention that they draw just helps the others on the court as well.
I don't want to say you become more of a scorer. You could always score, but are you looking? You seem to be looking for that shot more this year.
I would definitely say yes. I know the time that I've put in and the time that the coaches have put in with me. And, when I'm open, I have the confidence that I've put in the time that I know I can knock down that shot. And so I think that's a little different from last year. And I've always put in time, but I know that how extensive hours I put in this summer and this fall. And so my three-point shot is feeling very confident. It feels really good. And so I'm ready to shoot, which has helped open up drives too for me. So when you can shoot the three, that opens up drives, and when you can drive, that opens up the three a little bit too. So I've been lucky in that regard this year.
And your passing hasn't tailed off. You're still a great assist person out there. Tell me about the coaching staff. Much has been made about how they've been together seemingly forever, which they have for a long time. But how does that help a veteran club?
We just all trust each other so much. We know the coaches know basketball more than any other coaching staff in the country. They've been together longer than, I'm sure most coaching staffs in men's or women's side, and so they know the game so well. And then since we've been together for so long, the players, they know us really well too. And so our chemistry with the coaches and being able to communicate with them on and off the court just helps. Coach or Caitlin might come in the huddle and be like, "Hey, coach, I think this play is going to work." And coach is like, "All right, let's run that play." And so that trust right there, that's huge. And to be able to have that communication from players to coaches, that just benefits us a lot.
There you have Kate Martin, one of the real leaders of the Iowa women's basketball team. And you put all 5 starters back this year with that veteran coaching staff and the Hawks. The number 2 seed in Minneapolis at the Target Center for this week's Big Ten women's basketball tournament. Iowa's first game will be late afternoon on Friday. And I said Wisconsin and Purdue are playing tonight. I was wrong. They're playing tomorrow night. The Hawks will play the winner of Purdue and Wisconsin. And Coach, we have 2 finals in today. Penn State defeated Minnesota 72-67, and Rutgers edged Northwestern tonight 63-59. 2 opening games. But let's give a shout out to Lisa and Caitlin and Kate and the whole gang. What an electrifying Sunday. What a great weekend it was for Iowa basketball.
Well, that team is really special.
They are.
They don't rattle. They have an incredible post presence with Monica. Caitlin with the ball in her hands at any point in time is a threat to score or, drop dimes. Everybody understands their role. Kate's a terrific player. Warnock, Gabby, Hannah. When she comes in, there's no drop off. But they run their stuff. They play defense. That's a together team. When you watch them play, they are connected. And it doesn't mean it's perfect, but they don't rattle if somebody makes a mistake, somebody misses a shot. The other team goes on a little bit of a run. There's never any panic. And if you're going to have a chance to have a special season, that's how you have to be. And that's what I really like about watching that team play. We beat a really good Indiana team on Sunday. That team is really, really, really good.
Outstanding.
And, it looked like we were, dead to rights on the, on the foul call at 1.5, what should have been a travel. And it shouldn't have come down to that, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Throw the ball to Caitlin, and we're going to win anyway.
The possession before, Caitlin, to your point about how she distributes, great bounce pass to Monica, who was swirling all in one motion to the basket. The shot came up a little bit short. Yeah. But
those two have chemistry. It's really incredible.
Do you like that rule, timeout, bring it to half court?
I do.
See it in the men's game?
It's interesting about that because whenever we take our team overseas, that's a FIBA rule. So we have to practice that here before we go over and play in foreign countries, which we're going to do this summer in August. So I've coached with that rule, and I really like it.
How do you get it changed? Do you have a competition committee that
they do? And I'm kind of surprised that they haven't. You know, a lot of the rules that we adopt, the women do it first, and then we come behind and say, you know what, that really works. You know, of course we have experimental rules too, but there's been a number of things that the women have tried that we've adopted. I think that should be one.
You like the 10-minute quarters?
That's an interesting one too, because we've never done it that way. It doesn't mean you shouldn't. I kind of like it. You know, you have them in high school. You have them in the NBA. You know, you have them with women's basketball.
True.
FIBA, I don't think does. So
we'll see.
We'll see. I'm sort of indifferent on that one, I guess I'd say.
For now.
Yeah.
Time for a break. Hawk Talk from the Hyatt Regency continues with Coach McCaffrey in just a minute from Learfield.
Another season of women's and men's college sports is underway. Follow your alma mater or favorite team in their pursuit of the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. Trophies will be awarded in June 2023 to the winning institutions in all competitive divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
Running a business is a lot of work. Luckily, I've got a great partner.
Oh, I thank you.
I meant U.S. Bank.
I knew that.
U.S. Bank Business Essentials is a huge help to us.
Totally. Their comprehensive point-of-sale system does it all. Tracks inventory, manages schedules, customizes orders.
Plus all the regular banking stuff.
If only it could make coffee.
Nah, that's your job.
From point of sale to quick loans, we have many ways to make your business boom. That's what U.S. Bank is for. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Equal housing lender member FDIC.
At U.S. Cellular, we think phones are great, but they're not always great for us. Because while they connect us to so much, they can also distract us from, well, us. The us that actually laughs out loud with each other instead of just texting it. That knows being in the same room doesn't always mean being together. So let's find us again by putting our phones down. Not forever, just for 5. 5 days, 5 hours, even 5 minutes. Join U.S. Cellular in the Phones Down for 5 challenge. Find out more at uscellular.com/findus.
Contractors, you're busier than ever this fall, but you've got this with high-quality building materials from Spahn & Rose, like GAF. Use the Spahn & Rose Visualizer to plan the perfect roof and blend an elegant architectural look with exceptional performance. GAF, we protect what matters the most. With several Spahn & Rose locations nearby, you can focus on life's other important things this fall. Spahn & Rose, buy easier, build better.
The Honda HR-V, CR-V, Pilot, Passport, and Ridgeline. They all have one thing in common. They never back off from a challenge. Available with all-wheel drive, the Honda SUV lineup has the performance you can count on and the capability to amaze. It's no wonder Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com named Honda the 2022 Best Value brand.
So get to your Central Midwest Honda dealer. Honda gets the Midwest.
Based on 2022 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book, visit KBB.com for more information.
Winding down this week's Hawk Talk with Iowa basketball coach Fran McCaffery. Hey, congratulations to Tim. He entered our winning suggestion or comment tonight as picked by Authentic Brand. And Tim wins a $100 gift certificate for Authentic Brand gear. Log on to authentic-brand.com and you can outfit yourself and your family, and like thousands of fans do on game day. Gear up for game day and every day in officially licensed Hawkeye apparel and accessories from Authentic Brand. Tim's comment was, Coach, when you sense a run by an opposing team, what are the different things you consider deciding to either call a timeout or to sub some different players? And do you change your thinking about a player with 2 fouls if you were in a championship type of game? Good stuff, Tim. Thanks for your inquiry there. Born in the heart of Iowa, Authentic Brands Premium Sportswear serves the everyday demands of not only you as an individual, but small businesses and corporate America, too. They'll do merch for your company. Don't settle for less. Look, feel, and perform your best in Authentic Brand label. Ohio State helped the Hawkeyes out immensely tonight by defeating Maryland by 12 points in Columbus. Northwestern now and Penn State are underway. Northwestern with an 8-5 lead over in Evanston on the Nittany Lions. That's our U.S. Bank scoreboard update. Attention Hawk fans who buy your own health insurance, Wellmark is on your side and on the health insurance marketplace. Give it up for plans you can afford. Check out wellmark.com/hoops to compare plans. Should mention the Hawkeye baseball team won its opener last night 9-2 over Loras at Banks Field. Coach Heller and the Hawks, after knocking off #1 LSU this past weekend, will host 27 home games, including multiple Big Ten weekend series. Season tickets and custom mini plans are now on sale. Visit HawkeyeSports.com. Back to wrap up this week's Hawk Talk with Coach McCaffrey right after this from Learfield.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Another season of women's and men's college sports is underway. Follow your alma mater or favorite team in their pursuit of the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. Trophies will be awarded in June 2023 to the winning institutions in all competitive divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
When you set up a savings goal with U.S. Bank, it grows with you. There's no limit to what you can crochet. Can do. Doesn't have to be crocheting, but it totally could be. Like the headphones you're listening to this ad with, you could totally crochet those. There's no telling where your savings goal will take you. Maybe you'll save enough for yarn to crochet your house or the whole town. Oh, right. Doesn't have to be crochet related.
Set up savings goals on the U.S. Bank mobile app, even for the wildest of dreams. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Just a couple minutes left here on this week's Hawk Talk with Iowa basketball coach Fran McCaffery. Hawkeyes headed to postseason, but first it's Fred Hoiberg and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Sunday afternoon, the game is a sellout. On Senior Day, we'll honor Connor McCaffrey and Philip Rebracha. They'll be recognized at center court prior to the game at about a quarter of one if you're coming to the game. If you don't have a ticket, you can hear it right here on the Hawkeye Radio Network starting at 12 noon with Bobby and yours truly with our pregame show. Tip-off at 1 o'clock as the Hawks go for win number 20. Coach, before we close out, let's go to our winning Authentic Brand $100 gift certificate tonight goes to Tim. Coach, when you sense a run by the opposing team, what are the different things you consider deciding to either call a timeout or to sub some different players? And do you change your thinking about a player with 2 fouls if you're in, say, the Big Ten championship title game?
Well, that would be depending upon what the score was. Okay. You know, if the game was getting out of hand, and you'd have to roll the dice and keep your best player out there. But if the game is close enough, you want to make sure he's on the floor for the last 10 minutes of the game without feeling like he's hamstrung and can't touch anybody.
And I know you like to save your timeouts for those critical junctures at the end of the games or end of half.
You know, you have one to burn in the first half. Right. So, I don't have a problem using that one. I like a lot of times to keep it for the end of the half in case we want to call something for the last play of the half. But I'll call that at any point in time. It's the 3 in the second half that you need to make sure you have, and that was proven obviously in the Michigan State game.
For sure, before it went to overtime. Okay, we're going to conclude tonight. Now, next week, Bobby and I get to vote for the all Big Ten teams. I know the coaches have their own team. So, Bobby, Fran cannot vote for himself, but with this crazy year in the Big Ten. Well,
I actually think you can.
We'd vote for it.
I should.
No, I think you can. I think you can vote for
2
yourself.
or 3. Yeah.
No, for the purpose of
I know a lot
exercise.
of coaches in the past that have voted for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm talking for here and now. Just
I've never done
this exercise. No, you wouldn't do that.
I will take you out of it. Yeah. Who's our coach of the year?
So who would you vote right now? All these 11-win teams. Matt Painter did another great job. Who would be your coach of the year?
I think it's Chris Collins.
I agree.
Matt's done a terrific job. The associate head coach of the year is Margaret McCaffrey. We know that.
Well, that's every year.
That's every year. But, I think Kevin Willard's done a spectacular job.
He has.
Freddie?
Freddie, really, when you think about it, they could have packed it in when you lose 2 impact starters. He just filled in, and he just kept plugging away, kept competing. But I think, Chris was picked 12th. And he's right in the hunt.
And he was picked 12th. He's got the great guards, but he lost 3 bigs to other schools.
Well, he lost. Well, I thought it was 2.
Maybe
Big guy to Duke. You got Nance went to North Carolina.
Nance starts for Carolina. And
well,
Ryan
I guess Kopp left 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
That's right. Okay, that's right.
But losing Ryan Young and Pete Nance, I think they won 15 or 16 games last year. They had everybody back. They had a great deal of optimism. You lose your 2 best post players to go into portal. Both got big NIL deals to go to Duke and Carolina. And then just had a spectacular season. And then, had the COVID pause and so forth. And just kept plugging away. They had a bunch of games in a very short period of time. And, Boo Booey's having, I would say, first team all-conference type season.
Sure.
Audige is really good. And then you had the kid Nicholson and Robbie Barron step up, and take over for Pete and for Ryan.
Barnheiser off the bench.
Good choice.
He's going to another level. He's been terrific.
Well, we got our coach of the year right here. And we'll be back next Monday night for another edition of Hawk Talk with Coach McCaffrey. And Fran, we'll see you at Carver on Sunday.
See you on Sunday, guys.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight from the Hyatt and the Edgewater Bar and Grill. Good night, everybody.
On the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield, live from the Hyatt Regency, this has been Hawk Talk with Fran McCaffery, brought to you by Hyatt Regency, caring for people so they can be their best. Bud Light, it's for the fans. Brought to you by Ford, inviting you to visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. Hy-Vee, score big savings at HyVeeDeals.com. U.S. Bank, proud to support Iowa basketball. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. And by U.S. Cellular, take the phones down for 5 challenge. Visit uscellular.com/finds to learn more. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeyes Sports Network. On the Hawkeyes Sports Network. On the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield.